The number of eSports events that were being held was growing and growing all the time. There's been a change recently in that eSports has now become a school sport. So there are clubs and teams associated with high schools. I haven't seen anything in primary schools, but definitely in high schools, it's something that is being organised. In Queensland, there's a new tournament that's being just set up recently for eSports. So it's only continuing to grow.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Holder here from AV Asia Pacific, and welcome to another AV Lockdown Conversation. Today it's my pleasure to welcome Martin Moelle, Managing Director of BenQ Australia. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you. Good to see you again, Chris.
Yeah, you too. I'm glad to see that you're surviving. Where have I caught you? You're at HQ?
Yes, so I'm in BenQ Sydney, our office here. We've working on a in-out system where half the team come in on one day and on the next day the other half of the team come in, so there aren't too many people in here at one single time, and we're finding that works quite well. So trying to get a balance to work in the office, working from home, it's a tricky one, but so far so good. So we'll continue with this for a while.
That's good. So apart from the change in working conditions, what's the COVID lockdown meant for BenQ Australia?
So for sure, it's a tough situation for everyone, tough situation for our customers, tough situation for our end users as well. So adapting to the new environment, what we now know as normal and is going to continue on for a while, is something that we need to get used to, and helping our channel partners survive so that they can grow in this period as well. And then, as usual, trying to get the best outcome for our end users is what we're all about.
Yeah, which makes me think, just to back up slightly, for those who aren't as familiar with BenQ in the commercial AV world, are you able to maybe give me sort of the DNA of the business internationally? What's BenQ about?
So we've been a display company for a long time now. We're one of the world's biggest manufacturers of LCD panels. We're the world's second largest manufacturer of projection product. So therein lies our DNA, making sure that we're providing the best possible product for anybody who's looking for any kind of display product. Since then, we've also worked hard at providing total and complete end solutions for customers, so that in this pandemic period now, where people have to work from home or they have to work remotely and they have to Zoom into conferences or into meetings that are online, we're about providing a complete solution. This kind of product here, which is our interactive flat panel for corporates, which has all the bells and whistles on it, is something that we're moving towards.
Which sectors is BenQ traditionally very strong in?
So traditionally, BenQ was very strong in the B2C sector. So we are well known for making LCD monitors and projectors that people used at home. So since then, we've expanded our B2B business specifically into education and corporate. So we are a very active supplier into K-12 schools for our interactive flat panels. And now, as businesses take up and embrace the technology because of the changes in our working environments these days, we've moved into that space as well.
Gotcha. So what's your take, Martin, on the whole inevitable move to working from home, the whole remote working situation internationally, but your take on how we're dealing with it in Australia? I guess, what are some of the pain points that you're seeing, and what are maybe some of the successful ways that business has been dealing with it?
So the lockdown situation and the whole working from home situation is here to stay. I don't think personally that we will ever go back to the way business was before the lockdown happened. So by that I mean that some companies have publicly announced that they're going to encourage or even force workers to work from home permanently. And there are many benefits in that area. I feel that there still needs to be a certain part of a normal business requiring companies to have employees work in the office. It encompasses both performance, doing normal work, and then having training as well. So it's very difficult to train employees or to mentor employees or get employees to go to the next level if they're not in your working environment. Another part of that is education. So education, whether it's K-12 or tertiary education, is adapting quite well to remote teaching and learning as well. There are some schools which really require students to come in all the time, and that won't change, I don't think. But having schools enabled with technology to be able to revert back to distance learning if it's required due to the pandemic is something that everybody needs to be aware of. And for sure, we're changing our products and we're changing our offerings to help schools become empowered to be able to do that.
Okay, so are you able, as like a company that turns over $22 billion US and has 100,000 employees, able to like sort of move the aircraft carrier that quickly to be able to adapt?
Yeah, so our ship is quite big, and for sure we try to be as agile as we can, and the ship turns slowly in some cases, it turns faster in other cases. We're lucky because a lot of our product is and always has been focused on healthcare. So our healthcare aspect has been in process for a long time, and we have been able to move faster in that field to be able to adapt even faster.
Okay. So would that, I guess, describe the smart projector offering of this year? Like it feels like a product very much of its time.
Smart Projector is a natural extension of what we've been doing with other products already. And it was very easy for us to adapt the hardware and software of Projector to meet the requirement to become a true Smart Projector product. Projection was a category that's lagged behind traditionally because it's a well-established and relatively old technology that wasn't brought up to speed.
But I guess rather than you offering this product that, for people who don't know, is like it's a self-contained product, sort of similar to a commercial smart TV, but it's a projector. It's got a system on a chip. You can do VC from the projector. But I guess rather than say, hey, we've got a projector and we can make this product and here you go, it's like, it feels to me that BenQ must have looked at the home office and said, well, how are people working at home? How could they be working better? Like, does BenQ sort of have a view on how successful the home office is and how it can be improved?
So the home office, especially in Australia, is something that's quite new. And although there was some percentage of the workforce working from home, it's nothing like the numbers that we have now. So the uptake in the traditional LCD monitor was quite marked when the COVID lockdown situation happened. So adapting our projectors to be able to give end users a different experience at home was quite easy for us. So in a smart projector, we've incorporated Wi-Fi as built in, Bluetooth is built in, the Android operating system is built in, a hard disk is built in, and other features as well. So bundling the product together with a webcam was quite easy. And what it's enabled is end users to work from home, have a projection unit that they can use for Zoom meetings or something like that, experience a much more immersive environment with projection. And then secondly, they can also use that high-definition projection product for entertainment uses later, so that if they want to watch a movie in 1080p with their family or something like that, they can repurpose the product after hours as well.
Yep. Yeah. You mentioned the education sector. What are BenQ's, I guess, view on, similar question to what I asked you about the home office, but where are the pain points now? Like, what's your view on how successfully we're doing remote learning?
So for sure, we see teachers as absolute heroes out there, because they're the people who suffer most when we talk about working from home. So the government has quite significant requirements for many schools to be open at this time, and teachers need to have the best technologies and the best options available to them to be able to adapt to it. So our interactive flat panels largely come with germ-resistant screens that help break down bacteria and other pathogens on the screen. So this is something that we've done for a long time already. For sure, we had, as in our LCD monitor, we had eye care features built in for many years already, and we were the market leaders in that, in terms of having the best features and being first to market with that. But teachers need to be able to conduct lessons using our technology. We've, from day one, enabled teachers to record sessions that they're doing with their IFPs and that kind of product. Now, switching that technology and enabling projection to be able to do that as well should see teachers in a much, much better position to be able to adapt to this kind of changing environment.
So, Martin, you're standing in front of a Duo board now, which is a brand new product, and you've recently released a new version of the InstaShow. So, what's BenQ's kind of take on what a huddle space or meeting room looks like in 2020?
So the heart of any meeting is the display product. People need to see how and what is being presented. The big change that's happened is it used to be one-to-many, meaning that you used to have one presenter and it was a top-down message that was delivered to the audience with very little or even no interaction from anybody. What we see as the big change is that the way meetings are being conducted has adapted to the fact that instead of being a one-to-many message, collaboration is being actively encouraged. So being able to collaborate seamlessly and effectively so that everyone's opinion can be heard and people can contribute to the meeting outcome is very important. So our technologies enable people to log on to screens like this remotely, or they can log on within the meeting room itself. So to enable someone to log on in the meeting room itself in the past has meant that people needed to have software or network permission to be able to join. So with our new InstaShow product, we've enabled people to join without having to install software, without having to go through network protocols. It's just a simple connection with the touch of a button. Then if they're in the same meeting room, they can join. Through our software, we've enabled people to log on remotely as well so that they can see what's being presented. And if the meeting organizer allows it, then they can also contribute to what's being presented remotely, and they can also annotate on the screen directly. Mm-hmm. So this is the really simple explanation to what we're doing. Of course, it's quite complicated in the background. whether it's done through projection or whether it's done through a panel, whether there's multiple people or just a few people in a huddle space. But whatever the requirement is, we have a solution that can meet any needs, no matter how big the room is. So we can go up to a 300-inch projector size, or we can go down to a 55-inch screen on a panel that could be suitable for a huddle space.
Mm. I guess just to divert slightly into the world of eSports or gaming, just to throw a slight curveball at you, Martin, is that an area that's gone absolutely mental, given there's so many kids out there who can't get out and spend 24 hours a day playing computer games?
Yes, so it's not only the kids, it's, of course you've got white collar workers as well, and adults, if you want, for a better word. Without a doubt, the number of people logging on in Australia to online gaming has hit record high numbers this year as a result of the lockdown. Esports is an industry that we've been in for over 10 years. And again, it's an industry that we pioneered in terms of display product. So eSports is an industry that, as long as this lockdown situation or the stay-at-home phenomena exists, will be very important. And my personal opinion is that the numbers during the lockdown will be record highs. So it'll go to a next step. So at the end of this year, PlayStation and Xbox will release new product as well. So the market will only continue to grow, and we're releasing more and more products in the esports range that will help end users achieve their dreams of dominating these kind of gaming areas.
Do you have any sense how far along Australia is before we start to see kind of regular esports events? Obviously, COVID's got to be in the rearview mirror to be able to do it, but is how behind the times or is Australia when it comes to that sort of event?
So I don't think Australia is behind the times. We are progressing very fast, and until COVID, the number of esports events that were being held was growing and growing all the time. There's been a change recently in that esports has now become a school sport. So there are clubs and teams associated with high schools. I haven't seen anything in primary schools, but definitely in high schools, it's something that is being organised. In Queensland, there's a new tournament that's being just set up recently for esports, so it's only continuing to grow. The problem that Australian esports has that I see personally is that it's no different to soccer or football, if you like, in that the best Australian players are constantly being poached by the overseas teams to go and play overseas. And many, many good Australian esports players are currently in overseas locations playing for big overseas teams. And it's kind of sad in a way to see the best players leave Australia to go to play overseas, because it's like the soccer competition here. The A-League is great, and I enjoy watching games every now and then, but it's kind of sad to see the best players perform overseas and not be local here in Australia.
I guess they'll be back when it's part of the Olympics and they can be part of the Australian Olympic team.
That'd be the best thing, yes.
Just to wrap up, Martin, what's been your COVID sort of new pastime? Like how's your sourdough bread recipe going?
So I'm a woeful cook, and I haven't ever created anything before or after COVID that's been anything of anything that I could post online or do something there. For sure, I've personally been able to benefit in connecting with my family a lot better. I see a lot more of my children and my wife than I did beforehand. I've definitely picked up the amount of exercise I've been doing, because I travel a lot less. I used to go to Sydney Airport 3 or 4 times a month, whether it was domestic or international travel. And I don't miss the early starts, or I don't miss the overnight flights or the jet lag that's associated with that. So for sure, I feel healthier. I'm trying not to overeat, trying not to hit the booze too much. But yeah, it's been good in that respect for me.
Yeah, good. Well, thanks for getting on the line and giving me your thoughts on what we're going through and what BenQ's got in response. I very much appreciate it. Good luck, personally and commercially.
Thank you, Chris. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to the next opportunity.
Awesome.